Tuesday, October 16th, 2018, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. This morning I want to talk about something slightly different, but to do with money and investment, and it is whether Swiss watches maintain their value versus currency debasement. And why do I say currency debasement and not inflation? Well, because technically rising prices is the result of inflation. And that's what you get. You get the currency debasement, the currency becomes worth less, and real things become worth more. So before I go into the Swiss watch, how can I say, determination of whether it's done well, I'll look at the markets this morning. I'm a little earlier. It's around 7:30 a.m. London time. So yesterday, I watched the market throughout the day. Early on, before the U.S. opened, the futures market was quite weak. The Dow was in negative territory. I think it was down about 150. And then the U.S. came in, official hours, and the market rallied. But it was only really the Dow. It was up over 100 points at one point, and then it just couldn't hold on to the gains and actually finished down 89, the Dow yesterday, or just over 1/3%. The S&P finished down 0.6%, and the NASDAQ finished, the composite finished 0.88% down. I know a lot of people were expecting a Black Monday. I wasn't really sure. If anything, I thought we're going to see some consolidation for the next few days, next week or so, and I still hold to that. I think the markets right now are forming like what you call a little bear flag, and we are forming the flag part of it. We've done the flagpole down. Now we're consolidating. That's what usually markets do. If there's going to be some kind of another big drop, I would say it's more towards the end of this week, maybe even next week. I'm not sure. So what about this morning? Let's have a look then. We've got spot gold, which did very well yesterday. We traded up to a new high of 1235. It has come off that high, but am I concerned? No, it looks very good technically. The only thing that's being held back right now, doesn't look as good technically, is silver. So gold is 2660, down like a quarter of a cent right now. The range overnight has been 1225 to 1229. So that's gold. Silver is 1464, down 4 cents or a quarter of a percent. Range has been 1463 to 1476. The Dow is up 31 points, 25,273, or 0.12%. S&P 500 up 6 or a quarter of a percent, and the NASDAQ 100 future is up 27 or 1/3% at 70.95. Currencies fairly steady. Cable 131.56, up 5 pips, which is nothing. The euro also down 5 pips, so 115.73. Dollar has rebounded against the yen a little bit. It's up a quarter of a percent at 112.07. Personally, we all know that the yen is a major carry trade. What carry trade currency, and what does that mean? Well, that means it's a currency in which a lot of speculators and investors borrow in. And when they borrow that currency, they sell the currency and they take the proceeds and invest it in higher yielding currency. But the way that this continues, the way that people stay short the yen, is for the yen to stay fairly weak. And right now, in my opinion, it looks like the yen has actually formed a quadruple top. Going back to next year against the dollar at around 114.50, and it looks like it's going to go lower. Well, not the yen has formed a quadruple top. The dollar has formed a quadruple top against the yen. So it looks like the dollar is going to go lower, and the yen's going to be stronger, and that's a sign that speculators are concerned that they might be covering their short yen positions. And why is that? Well, because the markets are more volatile. Stocks have dropped quite significantly this month. Bonds have dropped, so they're concerned. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. Right now, it looks like the dollar has rebounded a little bit against the yen. So you see how it's complicated when you talk about foreign exchange. So you need to be careful. So what we need to make sure is if the dollar continues dropping against the yen, that's a negative sign for the financial markets overall. So dollar yuan, basically unchanged, so nothing there, 692.25. Crude oil, yeah, we have come off quite a bit from the top, but it's still fairly elevated. We are at 71.50 right now. WTI down 1/4%. Brent is 80.52, down 0.12%. What about the bond market? So the 10-year yield is up 1 basis point at 2 basis points, sorry, at 3.17. Let's look at the Italian 10-year. It's 3.52. It is early. 7:30 is early, but yeah, in the city of London, people get on, arrive at their desk. Some, not everyone, but some. The futures market opens around 7. I used to get to my desk before 7 and get ready. In the continent, in Europe, people are already in the office. It's 8:30 over there. But it probably will get a little busier in about half an hour. So what about Swiss watches, or, you could call it luxury watches or vintage watches? Are they a good store of value? Do they protect you against currency debasement? And am I telling you that you should go out and buy a watch, an expensive watch? No. The reason why I like watches is because when I was about 5 or 6, I think it was 5, my grandfather gave me a watch. And it wasn't a vintage watch. It wasn't an expensive watch. It was a very nice watch. But it got me really interested in watches. And it was the same grandfather who used to give me a bit extra pocket money compared to my cousins and my sisters. Probably because I was kind of his favorite. He made me sit down next to him at the dinner table at lunch on Sundays when the whole family went for lunch. So yeah, I got attached to my grandfather, and he taught me how to like watches, and I've liked watches ever since, and that's why I'm into watches. But does it mean to say that it's a good way to spend your money? I think it is. And the other thing about watches, or vintage watches, or luxury watches, whatever you want to call it, is that you can always pass it on to a member of your family, and it's very private. I think you know what I mean by that. So I've done a little experiment. Well, not an experiment. I looked into it to see how much the watch that I have now is worth. I have, some of you probably have seen, it's this one here. It's a Rolex Explorer 2 with a black face. So I'll take it off and just show it to you a little closer. So here it is, and it's got the date, and it's automatic. Not all Rolexes are automatic. Most of them are. And what does that mean? That means if you wear it all the time, it won't stop. You don't have to wind it. So it's stainless steel, not gold nor silver or anything. So it's got the date, and it's got a red arm. That's because you can have the time in different places. So you can choose to put the time in New York or in Beijing. So you've got your time in London, and you can see what time it is, elsewhere. The Explorer 2. Well, I bought this watch back in 2002. And that's the other important thing about these watches. If you're going to buy them, you should make sure you don't throw away the box. Don't throw away all the paperwork. And the other thing about them is that you probably need to do, services like you do with cars. Is it every year? Some people do it. I don't do it every year. Maybe every 5 years, maybe less. Yeah, and make sure you keep all the paperwork. You see, I've got the box still. Very nice box here. You take it out and you see, keep the box and the paperwork, of course, things like that with the certificates. Yeah, make sure you keep all that. Very important. Or here it is. This is the attestation from Rolex. So I'll show it to you. So you see, and I've got the stamp from the store that I bought it from and everything. So there you go. You need to keep these as a proof that because there's a lot of fake ones out there, of course, and stolen ones. You want to make sure you don't buy a stolen one. I bought it new. I think, and if you do buy it new, you should buy it from a registered dealer in the watch that you buy. Rolex usually does that. But of course, there's a lot of other watches. So I paid £2,300 for that watch in 2002. And recently I checked on Watch Finder, which is a big pre-owned watch specialist in the UK. And I found a watch similar to mine. From 2003, so a little younger than my watch, a year younger. It doesn't have the box, which doesn't matter really, but it would be nice to have the box. It does have the papers, it says there, and Watchfinder wants $4,845 for it. I mean, does that mean that if I gave Watchfinder my watch for them to sell it, I'd get that? No, I'll probably get less. You know, they're in business to make money. So I would probably get maybe $3,500. I don't know because I haven't checked. I'm not interested in selling my watch. But let's say I'd get $3,500. I bought it for $2,300. Doesn't seem like it hasn't done as well as if I bought, a stock that's gone, like Apple or Amazon. But it is just a watch, and it's something that you like, something that you wear. And take into account as well that you have to spend money upkeeping it every few years. But what I've done though is look at the Bank of England inflation calculator, and I'm in the UK. You could do this exercise anywhere else in the world. And I'm doing it here because, this is where I am. This is where I bought my watch. So I put 2,300 in 2002. How much would it cost in 2017? Bank of England calculator only goes up until 2017. And it says, and yeah, they call it an inflation calculator. And in my opinion, that's wrong, but let's go with that. And the rate they use is 2.9% a year, which is probably underestimated a little bit. But anyway, it says 3,557. So if I add another 2.9%, that's just over 3,000, around 3,700. So yeah, the watch has kind of kept its value with the debasement of the currency as per the Bank of England data. So, and at the same time, it's if I put the money in the bank, it probably would have been spent a long time ago, and I haven't, I still have my watch, and that's the beauty of it, and it's something you like. So, just wanted to do a video a little different, just instead of just talking about gold, silver, or cryptocurrency, something new. And of course, there's a lot of other fine watches out there. Patek Philippe, Omega, Tag. I've given you the Rolex example because that's what I have, and that's the watch that I have, experience with, and the one that I really like. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, You can also follow me on Steemit, DTube, and on Twitter. I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.